What's going on? Boys, thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers, subscribe to our Patreon free for behind the scenes stuff. Arm yourselves, life stuff. The Sociopath arc has reached its final and true conclusion. I mentioned in the last video that Sociopath Woman and I started speaking again. And after briefly and initially playing some games and feeling one another out, I got tired of it and started being honest and straightforward again. And I did that because I had an epiphany today. Well, it's not really an epiphany. It's one of these epiphanies you know will be replaced by another epiphany soon. Or you'll go back to the original belief because there's no answer to anything. Anyway, I realized every moment you spend doing something you don't want to do or aren't satisfied with is a moment wasted. And I didn't want to play games with her because games were miserable, and there's no way I'll beat her at games. You're in a game playing competition and your opponent is an INFJ with ASPD, and then that cut the shit pretty quickly, and we had a nice long conversation. And a Discord server member gave me some perspective, which was very helpful. And we finally reached the crux of what was going on, and we resolved it. I felt she was sending me mixed signals, wanting love and doing all sorts of things to communicate wanting love, and then saying the complete opposite. And it felt like it was beginning to go back in that direction, except now that we've done the investigation, we have the experience, and I think the vampire woman I was speaking with, I have a sneaking suspicion she might be an INFJ and not an INTJ. Not entirely sure, but it sets the precedent for woman shit. And you're already aware of this, but the reason vampire was important was it was so overwhelming. It was, what is it, raised to absurdity? The point, what women say and what they say they want and what they do or what they actually want are completely different things. And vampire's example was that to the most absurd degree, asking literally for the opposite, complete opposite, and insisting on it of what she actually wanted. Okay, so I'll need to trust what she's doing, not what she's saying. And that's where our conversation went about love, and more importantly, this mixed signals shit. And you wonder, why were these mixed signals so potent, so overpowering, where when other people give me mixed signals or do stuff like that, they very quickly mean a lot less to me? It's because this woman's mixed signals were potent on the inviting side. And interestingly, there was a narrative they followed, and she said this was all unintentional, and now I'm inclined to believe her. Even still, Jesus Christ. I mean, I beggar you to find someone, an outside perspective, who looks at what was going on and doesn't take away the same conclusions I did. And I think on some level that is still actually what was going on. In other words, I don't think this was strictly my, or just my, misinterpretation, because this was, you have no idea. Down to the point, a song she posted was about wanting love but not understanding it, or not having the examples, and in this song the two people fall out, and then waiting for this person to contact you so you don't miss out on what you're standing to miss out on, this great thing. Okay, if you were someone who stepped away from somebody because they seemed to want love but didn't understand how to do it, and was waiting to be contacted so things wouldn't be left the way they were, what conclusion would you draw? And this is after thorough accommodation, deep talks, forward with the sexuality, had already by that point set the precedent. Because they don't understand their feelings, they use songs to describe what they're feeling. They've already set that precedent and done it clearly. I mean, you people wouldn't believe. So her words were, I can't love, won't love. Her actions were doing emotional, love fulfilling things, again to an absurd degree. I'm not crazy about this. I drew the wrong conclusion, but there is something unconscious and, as that one INFJ put it, pathological going on here. But that's fine. Not my issue now. Essentially, she went through every mixed signal I had received and broke down why I had interpreted it incorrectly, or how I had interpreted it incorrectly. And I think one of the reasons I was so obsessed this entire time was she wouldn't do that before. And that's probably also my fault because I didn't press her on it. My mistake was leaving it in the realm of interpretation, both because it seemed so obvious to me, and again, I swear to God, you get someone else in here to look at how all this went down. I'm not crazy. But I also wanted it to be true. So this time I pressed a lot harder, and she gave me the breakdown I was looking for. And I wonder if INFJs are, on this super unconscious level, opposed to this level of clarity, because when they are manipulating on that super unconscious level, they get a lot of the shit they want. And by being nailed down and forced to be clear, these benefits go away. It's like they have a CIA behaviorist working for them, but with plausible deniability, because they can always claim they didn't know what they were doing, or they didn't realize the effect they were having. And I'm not holding that against this woman, because this is what I was looking for. There is no longer a tantalizing, on the cusp of obvious, unsaid. And now I don't have to worry about it. I have never been happier to be wrong. It's like in The Witcher 3 when you're doing that Yennefer loyalty quest with the djinn, except you, like Triss, spells broken, praise be. And this isn't at all to discount the feelings I had. If my conclusions had been correct, that would have been a brutal route, but it would have been a fulfilling route. In this route, I'm free. And this is a big deal because I can't put into words what that pressure was doing to me. You would have spent at least the next few years worrying about not even what could have been, but in your mind, what was supposed to be, but wasn't because you fucked up. We've managed to avoid the worst outcome. We can move on without torturing myself. I can engage with new women earnestly, because that door has been properly shut. There is no mystery to be solved. There is no tantalizing puzzle to be put together. What happened to you is very reasonable, but you were wrong, and that is a tremendous relief. I'll have an emotional hangover for a little while, but this will feel, or is feeling, like an actual hangover. This is not feeling like what you mean when you say hangover, but actually it's more like gremlins are sticking forks in your leg. I'll admit I'm terrified my emotions will go and do something else equally fucking stupid as this was, but I don't think that'll happen, because now I can move on. And as it turns out, maybe things do happen for a reason. In response to all of this shit going on, we managed to get back somewhat into the woman game. Not not the way I wanted to, but we have the leads, we have the tools, we have the mindset. It's like building a really kick-ass boat to escape some situation, and then that situation not coming, but now you have a really kick-ass boat. You meant to use it for a disaster or for a war, but now instead you can use it for the finer parts of life. And now you can really enjoy it because the women are not strictly self defense tools. I want this to be the vacation era. We survived that, and so many times in life, it's like the no country for old men thing. The more you try to keep or get back what you've lost, the more is going out the door. So many times in life that happens. This is one of the few situations, not only did we break even, but we came out a little better. We got a good ending. And the credits music is in the description. What a relief it is to know this isn't your problem. Like, if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.